Behind every successful business is a day full of tough calls, small wins, and small decisions.
What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Grind.
BTG.
If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of our future content. Our podcast is for the doers and the dreamers who want to take their lessons and turn them into actions. My name is Kay.
I'm Alan.
And I'm Tosin. And today I want each of us, give what a day in the life of an entrepreneur looks like. All right. Or maybe you can just use what you did today, right? Because sometimes we fantasize this role of being an entrepreneur, saying, I'm my own boss, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but there's a lot of activity that goes into being an entrepreneur. So I want them to kind of get that experience from 3 different lenses of what we do all day long.
But quick question though, because before we go into that, why do you think, because it sounds like what I'm hearing is that you think that folks think that entrepreneurship is glamorous.
It's sexy.
Right, it's sexy, right?
Sexy.
What do you think that narrative is coming from?
I think it stems from, I want to be my own boss. I don't want to report to anybody. I want to be in control of my own time. List it. It's all about me, and possibly that idea of, hey, if I'm an entrepreneur, I have freedom. Or I'm working my way towards freedom.
You know what? I call it the social media version of entrepreneurship, where if you ask an average person on social media what is the definition of, or what does entrepreneurship comes with, you know what they say? The 3 things: freedom, money, and lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because if I'm an entrepreneur, I get to make my own decisions.
Yeah.
I get to,
I don't report to anybody.
I don't report to anybody. I could be in Cancun and, living a great lifestyle and still be on my laptop making decisions.
And money's just rolling in.
And money's just rolling in, right? But
you see my page.
Alan's like, show me that version.
So I think that people are in love with the idea of entrepreneurship, but not ready to live what it actually takes to be an entrepreneur. Don't get me wrong. There are some entrepreneurs that do live that lifestyle where they've been able to get freedom. They have a great lifestyle. They have freedom, but that didn't happen overnight. They had to pay their dues to be able to get there. That's not the case for everybody.
I think definitely the freedom, there are freedoms, right? Time, money, just so many freedoms. It takes discipline. You have to give up those freedoms and a lot of other freedoms and have discipline to have structure to increase your likelihood to have those freedoms. So it's not like, day one you can do whatever you want, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, as my friends will say, and you fall flat on your face because you're out here in Dubai or wherever, like being a digital nomad or whatever it is, and you're like, I got this set up, I'm shooting all this, boom, I got 0 clients. It's been 6 months. I need to move back. My life savings done. So I think you do have to have some structure and a daily routine, so then you can kind of have those freedoms. And it takes time to learn that, honestly. You can watch all the videos you want and not.
So I think we need to be careful when we say some people have that type of lifestyle, because I needed to go to Google AI real quick. They're not sponsoring, but Google, holla at us if you do want to. All right. I just had to look it up and say, you know what? How many small businesses are in these United States? And guess what it says? 36.2 million.
Jeez.
I'm just using whatever is
10%
there. So it's like, imagine your sum, even if it's 1%, that's a lot. I highly doubt it's 1%.
Asking how many people in the U.S.
I think 300-something million.
That's about 10%.
So the majority,
1 out of 10 people,
like 90. I would bear to say 99% of businesses out there require a whole lot of you. And very few are those ones that are sitting on the beach and money is just rolling in. Like
right off the bat.
Less than a percent.
Yeah.
You know, so yes,
It's not impossible.
they get attracted because of that social media business entrepreneurship mindset, because those few that maybe get to that point are kind of loud on social media. Maybe they can be loud because they got good advertising budgets, but for the rest of us that, you know, it's a daily grind, maybe our budgets ain't that
Actually,
much.
if you look at it from this angle, right? You know, as an employee, I go to work. There are assigned tasks that I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
If I don't do it right, maybe I might not get a good review, but that paycheck is still coming every Friday. You know, when I look in the bank account, Wells Fargo says there's a direct deposit and life is good.
As my Nigerian people say, bagao.
But as an entrepreneur, in the words of Tosin, you know, you eat what you kill.
That's right.
Not literally. But what I'm trying to say is that, you know, if you put the time and effort in making sure that you do what you need to do, then you make the money.
Yeah.
But if you have the mindset that, look, I am a business person now, I am an entrepreneur, so I'm going to live a lavish lifestyle, the money is going to come, the freedom is going to come. Well, guess what? If your ambition, if your dedication, if your actions doesn't match those dreams, then there's a disconnect. And in that case, you're not going to be able, what's the word I want to use?
You pack your bags soon, right?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is going to hit. At that point, it's like, yeah, I thought I knew better. Exactly. Fantasy, that's the word I was looking for.
I think is so with entrepreneurship, right? You can hit it, and we don't want to discount and say you can't get it right the first time, right? But most entrepreneurs fail. An entrepreneur, the main thing about entrepreneurs is that they're stubborn, right? They fail and they just start up. That's what you have to do. And
Most people.
And you learn. If you're actually an entrepreneur, like, failure means decompose what happened.
It means lesson too.
Pick apart the good stuff, learn from it. Okay, you failed because you did this, so I shouldn't do that. Okay, what did you do in your business model that allowed you to fail? What can I take from that? Okay, cool. I'm doing the same business, but I'm gonna take all the stuff that you did and add and take away what you did wrong and add some more stuff and maybe redo the same business. Might be successful, might not be, but you're learning. But as time goes on, you learn the structure in your life, what works. And then some people it takes a lot of people, most people, some time to balance and realize that they have to be efficient with their time, because we're now in the age for all entrepreneurs where the moment is fleeting.
Okay.
So you had a great business idea.
Yeah.
Guess what? That was in 2025, August. It's now March, obsolete.
Yes.
AI took it. AI took that idea.
Oh, somebody
already did it.
Yeah.
Like, so it's moving fast. So you have to learn how to be efficient with your time, delegate, and we've already talked that in the past, and focus on things. So
Okay, let's be practical here. Tosin, what does a day in the life of Tosin Omotayo look like?
You know what? I'm gonna pull up my calendar and just tell you guys what I did today. Okay, I operate a whole lot off of my calendar. If somebody wants
live
to
and die
move
by
with
your
it,
calendar as an
it's
entrepreneur.
like, it is what it is, right? It helps me stay organized, and even if my team wants to reach me, they slot themselves into my calendar. All right, so here we go. All right, we're gonna skip all that part about waking up, brushing your teeth, all that stuff. Right?
the most important part.
Sorry. For our dentist, make sure you brush twice a day. You know, floss, mouthwash. All
Lots
right.
of teeth you want to keep, you know?
All right. Or if you have bad teeth, come and see my guy over here. All right. But it first started off with, today was kind of a weird day because it started off a little bit differently. I had a program at my daughter's school. So, hey, guess what? It's on the calendar. So went there. It was about an hour. And, she had a little presentation there, supported, loved it, took pictures, took videos, got to put in the time with the family. Then I drove to the office. I'm mentioning my drive to the office because in my drive to the office, there is almost no day I'm not on a phone call with somebody for something. All right. So today as I was driving to the office, I had 3 calls. All of them were kind of follow-ups and just moving some pieces of a project forward. All right. So maybe I was asking for more information. I was telling them, hey, this is what to do, and so on and so forth. 3 calls. Then, in the middle of me driving, we have our weekly stand-up for our managers. So I jumped on that. I was a little bit late because of the program, and because of the calls. But I already told them up front that, hey, I'm not going to be able to make that meeting. So hey, Leela, she's our COO. She's going to run the meeting from start to finish. Usually, when she runs the meeting, those stand-ups are about 30 minutes long. When I run those meetings, it's about 1 hour long.
That is bad.
Wow.
I think people prefer her running those stand-ups.
That's bad.
Yeah, you need to make it shorter, my friend.
Well, I got a lot to say, there's a lot to make sure that we go through. All right. So, and then after that, jumped into another meeting where we were talking with our business development team. We're just reviewing some of the things that we're doing for business development. Now, a lot of CPA firms, and including us until maybe about 6 months ago, we just hope for work to come in the door. We're kind of that mindset of good work gets more work. So you don't go out there and chase new work.
Not in 2026.
Trust me, a lot of CPA firms tell them, what's your marketing plan? They're like, we do a good job. I mean, that's basically what they would sum it up to. Like, there's no proactive, let's go out there and find clients for a lot of CPA firms.
Okay.
All right. So we brought in a business development team, but for me, if I'm going to spend, I need to know what you're doing. I need to have metrics. I need to follow up. So we have a meeting once every 3 months just to kind of recap what's gone, what we've done, and so on and so forth. So there was some webinars we did in the last 3 months. We kind of recapped that performance and what kind of clients we were able to get from that. And what are we doing for the next 3 months? After that, if you guys notice, I haven't had food yet, but don't worry about that. All right. By the way, I mentioned that because I do put lunch on my calendar, because many people like to schedule meetings whenever it's open. And a lot of times, if you leave that lunch spot open, people are going to take it. So I do have a block calendar session saying, lunch. Make sure you get some lunch. All right. Because a lot of times it doesn't. You
just exposed yourself.
So, I'm saying even today, like if you look at it, like there's no space for lunch.
Okay.
Right. So, next, a client came in the door. We've been working with him. He's got about, 10 years or 12 years of stuff that he needs to catch up on. So we need this guy to come in the inside, in the office to make sure that we grab every single thing for him. So that was like a 2-hour meeting. We didn't even finish within those 2 hours. And that's our second meeting with that client. So we need to still have another meeting to continue grabbing everything we need from him and moving the project forward and finishing. I had one of my staff in there with me on that. And after that, I had another business development call for another client. It's a construction client. He's also trying to use I'm connecting him with the business development team that I have. Possibly they can help him. And they said that they could. So we all had that conversation.
What time is it?
Right now we're at 3:30.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Good.
This meeting was at 3:30. I still haven't eaten. I'm saying that because, never mind. Just making it real for everybody. So that was about a 30-minute meeting. Also, as a consultant, we also want to be inside those types of decisions with our clients. We don't just want to handle your historical work, right? Because some people might be asking, why is the CPA joining a business development team? Well, no, we see ourselves as one of your C-level employees or team members, right? It could be your CFO, it could be your COO, it could be your CAO, Chief Accounting Officer. It can be whatever.
So kind of like a fractional controller.
That's correct. Right. So if I can make introductions and then slot myself in as one of those resources, guess what? You're going to bring me up on board and that's more work. So that in itself, even though it's a business development call for that client, well, that means that client is expecting to grow. And guess what?
More business.
Tosin was right there. I was there from ground. All right? So that is why I was in that meeting, and it's important to be in those types of meetings. Then I had one last meeting before I had to drive to this recording. All right. So that meeting was with another client who is trying to do some vibe coding to build out some software. He's looking into the sports space to be able to build out some kind of software. So he was asking me a little bit of questions on, how to implement this and implement that. So we were going through, that was a whole consulting deal. That was about an hour. And then from there, I grabbed some snacks and headed out to this recording. This recording is going to be about, we spend about 2 hours over here, which is also on my calendar. And then we going to go home.
But did the day go by fast, or was it tedious?
The day was planned.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I was going to say before I started my day, is that most entrepreneurs are going to plan for either the week, for the month, for the quarter up front. You're not just winging every single day. Right. Maybe every single day might have some curveballs that come through, right? But really, you should know the trajectory of what you're trying to accomplish. Right. We're in more of that consulting type of business. So mine is going to include talking to a lot of different people. But if it's project based, you would know what you're working on. Right. Or even I won't talk for you guys.
And I like the fact that you mentioned, the plan aspect, because obviously there are different types of entrepreneurs, right? You have the solopreneur, you have the startup entrepreneurs, you have the consultant entrepreneurs, and then you have the big companies who are, started quite small and now it's like full-fledged out, right? But the one thing that's going to be constant, regardless of what type of entrepreneur you are, is that you're probably going to live and die by your calendar, right? Because that's essentially how you get things done. That's how you know what's next. Nobody is going to keep everything in their head, And for me, I'm looking at a couple of things. Number one, you have to understand that there's going to be pressure. There's going to be decisions that you have to make. There's going to be problems that you need to solve. And there's really a switch off, especially during weekdays, because even after 5 o'clock, you're still thinking about XYZ, right? So it's
always that I should have said
exactly.
I should have told that guy. I should have told that lady. Like something.
You're having some retrospective in your head about what you could have or should have, But that's part of the job. Majority of my day is built into strategy, relationship building, and decisions. So an average day for me, so let's say I start by just going through my calendar, right? So I'm trying to determine like what are like the critical ones that I need, because everything that's on my calendar, I didn't put it there. So I'm trying to determine like what's important, because that would ultimately determine how my day goes, right? Then I'm doing my stand-up. At this point, I'm running the EOS system, Entrepreneur Operating System. So we have a strict 30 minutes meeting, and the only type of update that I want to get from you is what you're doing and how it's contributing to the goal that we've set for ourselves for this quarter, and what percentage it's going to be. I don't care about anything else. All the other details, that's for your supervisor or whatever. So once I'm done with that, then I'm having one-on-ones with my leads. Why? Because I need to make sure that we're all on the same page. And the conversation is simple. I need some reiteration from you to understand how your role impacts the overall agenda that we're trying to meet for this quarter. That's number one. Number two, what is something that you're quite proud about? And then number three, what goals have you set for yourself from a professional and from a personal perspective? This is me building relationship here. This is me building trust. This is me letting my people know that I actually care about them. You get to find out a lot about your people based on that conversation, and it can also energize you, or should I say prompt you to even help them by supporting them even with their personal goals. One thing I realized is when people feel like you care about them, they're more likely to go above and beyond.
Always.
So at this time, once I'm done with my one-on-one, then I can start going about my day. And basically that includes looking at our numbers. So I'm like, okay, how much did we make yesterday? Did we achieve our goals? Okay, what decisions do I need to make? Do we need to onboard something? What is our runway looking like? What is our burn rate looking like? Do I need to have a conversation with the CEO to see what updates do we have on investment raising? I'm doing all that. And once that is essentially done, now I'm putting together some sort of deck or presentation, because obviously we have a board that we need to speak to, and I have a living document, like a work stream, that gives high visibility on everything that's happening. So I've spent my whole day gathering information, making decisions, and then I'm spending the end of the day compiling all those things together, so that should anybody need any information at any time,
it's available.
Yeah, my day is nothing like that.
Now you're in the medical space, so tell us a little bit.
I work in healthcare, so
yeah.
I got to get in when I fit in. So I I'm thinking about my day as we speak, and I'm like, man, I was exhausted just thinking about my day. It starts out like the rest of y'all, morning, all that, get up, brush your teeth, floss, shave if you need to, work out if you need to. Or
is it actually a requirement for you to have nice teeth as a dentist?
I think so.
I don't know.
Because if you have terrible teeth and you're my dentist, I should be concerned.
It's like going to a skinny chef.
There's skinny chef.
No, I'm just messing.
But you'll go to your physician. He smokes cigarettes.
It's not the same.
They don't do it in front of you.
Yeah.
He's
overweight. He's overweight.
If I walked in and I smelled like like tobacco,
if you go to your physician and he's overweight, and he's telling you to lose weight, you still go to him.
No, it's like you coming to me telling me, hey Kate, let me teach you how to make $1 million, but you don't have $1 million.
Yeah,
but how you gonna teach me?
But physicians are on the same meds as a lot of not all.
Anyway, let's continue.
That's a good point.
Anyway, so then I go to work. I usually walk in, ask my staff if anything changed, if there's handing me insurance.
So no stand-ups or nothing like that?
We change the structure of everything. So we usually talk about the day before.
Okay.
And then in the morning, anything that changed.
Like the night before, you kind of have a stand-up before everybody leaves.
Yeah, because we call all the patients, call up everything, and verify everything. We know what's going to happen the next day because it's already been verified at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Overnight, if something changes, we update the changes.
That makes sense. Especially that's how you get paid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so... any changes, we're like, anything, this person's not, blah, 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 and I can see the schedule, they can see the schedule. So, usually I'm like, y'all need me before I get started. And it depends on the day because I'm at different offices. So, if it's one office is smaller. So it's like, if they need me, they come let me know. Other than that, I usually have in between patients, I block out like 12:30 to 1 to have like meetings for like marketing or anything, and then like again at 3:30. So usually I'm like trying to squeeze in it because it's hard because you still have emergencies and all that. But on 3 days a week I'm in another location. That location's busy. I don't even see my actual. I don't ever do what we're doing now. I walk in the door and they're like, Dr. Charles. Literally, I have 5 people.
Dr. Charles.
5 assistants. And up front, like, I need you to sign this. Like you watch on TV. I need you to sign this. This person's ready in 1. This person's ready in 2. This person's ready in 3. This person's ready in 4. As a matter of fact, they're texting me on the way there, telling me that like we got to do this. What do you think? I'm like, all right, no. We have a lead. Her job is to keep everything going.
You can't delegate these things because you're the doctor.
I'm the doctor. No. they tell me where to go. Like, so I just say, we need X, Y, and Z. We need X, Y, and whatever. And then the lead, she's like, hey, you got to go to 1. You got to go to 2. These are rooms. You got to go to room 5, whatever. She just manages me the whole day.
Sounds exhausting.
Yeah, it is exhausting. So I'm in and out, extraction, implant, crown bridge, in and out, hygienist, whatever. But literally, someone is telling me where to go. And that's usually how it is in most offices. I kind of know where to go, and I remember it, but I'm like, I walk out, I'm like, who is next? Like, literally.
You know, let me jump in right there real quick. Sorry. Mm-hmm. One thing that came to my mind as you're talking is like, we've got to be on like 100%.
100%. That's why when people tell me like, what happened today? I'm like,
he's got to be on. Like, I don't care. You know, we had a previous episode telling you guys that, hey, the patients or the clients don't care about your problems, right? If he walks into my room and jacks up my teeth, I don't care that you did 30 before me. Exactly. You know,
so
you got to be on.
I'm suing.
And I actually had this conversation with a patient today. They had a condition. They're like, but I was fine. This doctor did fine. I was like, no, I'm seeing you for the first time. I need a medical clearance. I need a visit with your provider, this and that. Well, it should be fine. I was like, I don't think you're hearing me. It's not negotiable. And they were like, oh, I don't, they had a condition. I was like, well, the recommended is you're supposed to have this emergency in case you have, like this seizure or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't believe in taking any chemical. I was like, that's fine. Then we can't see you. You have to go to a hospital facility and they can manage you. At minimum, we have to bring a team on here to manage you. And they just were like trying to circumvent. I was like, look, my board, they don't care. You die, it's me.
Yeah.
Something happens, it's me. They don't say, but he told her, yeah, well, why'd you do it? You know better.
Yeah.
Like, so no one really cares in that aspect. But yeah, I do have to be on. I have the same processes. I walk in, I introduce myself, I confirm, even though I know what we're supposed to be doing. But sometimes between you walking in and when they walked in the front door, they've changed their mind on something. So I say, hey, we're working on this tooth. What tooth number is it? Number 4. It's in your upper right. And da-da-da-da-da. Okay, yes. Don't you know? I'm like, yes, but I always say it's my call out so that I know. And then I confirm with the assistant, confirm with the patient. That way, everything is always that way. Yeah. So, but then I get time, I do my notes, I get on a lot of calls. Mainly, I would say the calls I have are marketing. And then sometimes I have a team meeting of big cases that are coming up or lab coordination. And most of it is delegated, but they still need to know some of the intricate like dental specifics. But I have pretty good teams at both offices where I can just say, hey, this and that happened. Did you do that? Already done, doc. Like, that was done in the morning when you were with such and such. What do you think is my first rodeo? Like, I'll get that text. Or their job now is not for me to remember to do everything. Their job is to remind me. Yeah. And when they need something done, we have a thing now. Don't leave when it's something. If it can take me 5 minutes or less or 10 minutes or less, I do it right then. If not, then I'll be like, what are you doing here? They're like, I'm waiting. I'm not leaving till you do it. Like, I want to make sure it's done. So they're good on keeping me on task. But I literally sat with them and I said, my job is to do dentistry. You guys know that you walk into 1 or 2 or 3 rooms per hour. I walked in through 10 rooms an hour. So it's, I need you guys to, if there are things you can do, I expect you to do it. Like, you can't say you forgot to do this. That's why I pay you. You get the big bucks. Like, you're not, you're taken care of. I let you come in on, off days to do anything else you need to do. And, like, you can come dressed down because it's not a patient facing day. It's just admin. So I give them a lot of freedom. I'm like, but you got to make this work. Yeah. So, but I do have one-on-one. I don't really have as many one-on-one designated anymore because I have so many during the day.
Yeah. And you're right because,
I call them in my office rent. I'm like, hey, close the door. You're not in trouble. That's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? The key thing is that, as entrepreneurs, you're not getting up to be inspired. Like, you're getting up knowing that you have responsibilities.
That's right.
And you have to be consistent in what you do. And it's quite interesting, as you were mentioning your day, all I kept thinking about is Tosin and we can work out a plan where we can delegate. Your delegation is capped. because if it doesn't have that doctor next to it, you're ultimately responsible.
Delegate to associate, but they don't always have the skills.
Right, the skills or the credentials. Because I think you've talked about it before, where like if something goes wrong, it's your name on the door. So yes, it's your name on the door too, but you delegating something to your COO doesn't mean she can't do it, because she doesn't need managing partner next to her name.
To be able to do it. No.
Whereas for him, it doesn't matter how high ranking the person is, it doesn't have doctor next to their name. So but yeah,
those dental what are those things I keep seeing? Veneer techs, those aren't a real thing. Please don't go there. They're all in prison right now.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know why you will market yourself on social media that you're doing fraud and committing a federal crime.
Wow. One thing I did like about his day is that, he doesn't operate like with a calendar like we do, but in every little thing that he does, he has little processes.
SOPs.
Such as he walks into the room, he says his name, he reminds you, what are we working on? He asks everybody in the room, what are we working on? Every single time.
You create that habit, you eliminate a lot of errors.
With everything that we've talked about, you know what we didn't say?
What?
We didn't talk about how we live in a luxurious life. We didn't talk about how we got our freedom back. I'm not saying that those things are not happening, but we're talking about the reality. Now, when the time comes when you need to take a vacation, you spend the good time with your families and your friends. You do those things, which is the same.
Work towards it.
Which is the same as an employee. When it's time to take off, you take off. But then when you come back, you're not shooting a video, posting on social media like, look, I'm in Cancun making money while I'm still working. It's not really like that.
But G's moving silence like those lines, right?
So remember, there are over 30 million businesses in the US. So if anybody tells you that, hey, this business does this, entrepreneurship is like whatever, take it with a massive grain of salt. Every single time, what I can guarantee at least, or what we can guarantee from our personal experiences, is that you've got to be organized, you've got to be structured, and you've got to have these routines that take you every single day a step further into growing your business, scaling your business. And it could look different, like we've just mentioned, from the different industries that we come from. So if you like our content, please make sure to like and subscribe, and you can find us at Go Beyond the Grind, and also see all of the different channels that we are part of. Until next time,
peace.
To make strategic decisions and take calculated risks. We'll also talk about future-proofing your business so you can build a lasting legacy and true freedom. This isn't a one-sided conversation. We're all on this journey together to build a life and a business that works.